All right, if you're prepping for your GS3 paper, this is one you'll want to pay very close attention to. We're going to dive into a huge issue where the economy and the environment are on a collision course. We're talking about the massive heat crisis that's starting to cripple India's textile sector.
So, let's just kick things off with one single, really powerful number. On those super hot days, the really intense ones, industrial output takes a nosedive, a full 4% drop. And listen, this isn't just about it being a bit warm outside. No, this is a direct hit, an economic assault on one of India's biggest employers and a cornerstone of its entire economy.
Okay, so first things first, let's break down what's actually happening on the ground. We need to look at the reality of the shop floor. I'm talking about what happens when the people, the very engine of this industry, are pushed way past their physical limits. It's leading to a literal collapse.
Now check this out. This really shows you the massive, and I mean dangerous, gap we're dealing with. The legal limit, the permitted temperature for a factory floor, is 30 degrees Celsius. But what's the reality? Well, inside textile mills in places like Karnataka and Maharashtra, it's routinely hitting 35 to 40 degrees. This isn't just a matter of feeling uncomfortable. It's a full-blown safety hazard.
And here's where you see the direct human cost. At just 33 to 34 degrees, a worker's physical capacity is literally cut in half. Just think about that for a second. Imagine being asked to do a tough physical job with only half your normal strength, half your endurance. It's no surprise this leads to things like heat stroke, dehydration, and a huge spike in accidents at work.
So this chart really shows how that human cost translates directly into an economic loss. And this isn't a one-off thing, right? For every single degree the temperature goes up, the annual output drops by 2%. But on those extreme heat days, that loss doubles to 4%. It's this predictable, damaging drain on the economy. And you know what? It's only going to get worse.
Okay, so the crucial thing to understand here is that this isn't just happening in a few isolated factories. It's a cascading crisis. It's like a ripple effect, starting with a single worker's health and spreading all the way out to affect the entire national economy. So let's really look at the scale of this thing.
45 million. That's the number of people whose livelihoods are directly on the line here. 45 million people work in India's textile and apparel industry. We're talking about the country's second biggest employer. And honestly, every single one of those jobs is getting riskier, more precarious as the heat continues to rise.
And if you think that's bad, well, the future looks even more alarming. The International Labor Organization has run the numbers, and they project that by 2030, India is going to lose 5.8% of all working hours just from heat stress. As you can see, that's a massive chunk of our national productivity, just completely wiped out by the rising temperatures.
So, what does that 5.8% actually mean in real terms? Well, to put it into perspective, that loss of working hours is the same as losing 34 million full-time jobs. Let that number just sink in for a moment. 34 million. This is so much bigger than just a few slow days at the factory. This is a systemic threat to employment on a truly massive scale.
So you might be wondering, why can't the factories just slow down or even stop on the hottest days? It's a good question, and the answer brings us to the global side of this problem. It's what we can call a supply trap, where these huge international demands are crashing head-on with the local physical realities on the ground. And for your exam answers, here's a key term you're going to want to remember: the thermodynamic bottleneck. So what is it? It's basically that exact point where orders from global brands, with their super strict deadlines, collide with the physical and thermal limits of the workers and the machinery in places like Tirupur, places that are just getting crushed by this record-breaking heat.
So here's how this trap really works. You've got these huge global brands, and they're demanding lightning-fast turnarounds. If you're late, there are heavy penalties. This puts the local factory owners in an absolutely impossible position. Either push their workers to the brink of collapse or face financial ruin. And guess who ends up absorbing the real cost? It gets pushed down to the informal workers, the ones with absolutely no safety net. If it gets too hot to work, they just don't get paid for the day. Simple as that. We saw a similar kind of brutal risk shifting during COVID-19, remember? Brands just canceled billions in orders and left over 1 million workers in places like Bangladesh with absolutely nothing overnight. And this quote right here, it really gets to the heart of the whole flawed system. For decades, the entire global fashion industry has been running on this convenient lie. The lie is that the cost of production is just a simple, static number you can plug into a spreadsheet. But that number was only low because it completely ignored the true cost of a stable climate, something everyone just took for granted. But now, the basic physics of thermoregulation, the body's simple struggle to stay cool, is starting to show up on the balance sheets in a big way. Okay, so enough about the problem. What's the way forward here? What are the solutions? For your policy analysis, this is perfect. We can frame the solution as a clear 5-point action plan. The goal? To build what you might call a climate-smart supply chain.
So let's walk through this 5-point plan together. First up, policy. We need to start baking climate heat forecasts right into our industrial and trade agreements. Step 2 is about action on the ground, making heat action plans mandatory for industrial clusters, which means things like required cooling breaks and health checks. Third, we have to reform financing. We need to push banks to include climate risk when they're giving out loans and maybe offer better credit for those who are adapting. Fourth is all about strengthening our labor codes, guaranteeing every worker access to the basics like clean water and shaded rest areas. And finally, step 5, we've got to drive innovation through R&D, funding research into better cooling tech and even things like heat-tolerant cotton. See how each step kind of builds on the last? It's about creating a whole resilient system.
So when you boil it all down, this is the crucial point. India is really at a crossroads. There are two paths. Will we continue to externalize the cost of a warming planet, basically push that cost onto the backs of the most vulnerable workers? Or will we make the deliberate, systematic choice to invest, to adapt, and to build a genuinely resilient and climate-smart supply chain for the future? That right there is the fundamental question we all need to be thinking about.